Okay guys, Sergeant 1911 here, and you guys who subscribe to the channel know I always do my best to return a response of some kind anytime a comment's made. So this one, we're going to do a response. Okay gang, Sergeant 1911 here, and we're outside the hideout at the range. You know, this is a response to a subscriber who's having some issues with his 1911, in particular Dan Wesson. Now, I've not tested his issue, but we're going to test it today because in my mind, I just can't wrap my head around it, but all things are possible, right? So first, let me say thank you for watching the video. Thank you for popping the questions out there, listening to my response and giving you feedback, all positive feedback I enjoy. So let's all always, gather around the table together and let's have a big time. Sam Hotstick 13.2, this is for you, buddy. Sam watched my video on the Dan Wesson EOC, and he's telling me that any magazine he puts in there other than the Dan Wesson magazine will not run. So I'm going to address that. Now, in particular, he says something about the high capacity. So what I'm going to do, in my mind, the capacity of it shouldn't really matter that much unless the thing is so big or something that the spring gets in a bind. And I'm going to talk about being the quality of the magazine then, not the quality of the handgun. If you'll remember, the handgun magazine indexes off this little notch up here at the top. So the length of it shouldn't matter so long as the spring tension is right. So what I'm going to do, I've loaded up one box of shells and I put them in various magazines, and we're going to start. And we're going to see if they run dry. The first one I'm going to do is a Dan Wesson magazine, and we're going to see if we can fire it. And like I said, am I hitting a target? I'm not even close to the target, so I don't really care about hitting anything today. I just want to keep the weapon safe and see if the thing works. So now here's our Dan Wesson magazine. That magazine run dry. Now, I have no idea what this is. This is some kind of 45 ACP, probably generic, something other, whatever. Looks like it's going to have one more round in it. So let's see what it does. Hearing protection on. I'm having trouble with this one. Magazine did not light back, so that is a magazine. Now let's go to this PMag. We got a PMag, 10 round government, 1911 government, 45 ACP. I opened it up inside the hideout just to load it, so we wouldn't be standing out here loading magazines. But this is a PMag magazine. Let's see what it does. Now we're up to 10 rounds. Put my hearing protection on. Is it going to work? I don't know. Let's see. Woo! So the PMag ran all 10 rounds. Let's try Wilson Combat 10 round. Now Sam has made a comment in particular that the 10 rounds will not run. Well, we just did successfully run the PMag 10 round. Let's see if we can run the Wilson Combat. 10 round Wilson Combat. That one there. We did have one there. So we did have a fail on 2 rounds. Now I'm going to go to a 16 round. I don't know what this thing is. I will say this thing has failed before on another 1911. Let's see what it does here. I expect this one to fail. It is going to fail. So let's do this. So we know that magazine is junk. Let's go back and put it back in. Let's put it back in this one. We'll put it back in the PMag and see if we can't do that. So far, I'm not quite convinced that it's the magazine issue, because I am firing 10 rounds in multiple magazines. I'm having a little bit of trouble in particular this big thing, which if you'll recognize just before I fired it, we expect trouble out of it. And we're going to try the PMag. I do not have any idea how many's in it. Let's just load it until it stops. Lock and slide back. I'm having trouble there. It's odd. Okay, Sam. We're going to try another magazine. I'm beginning to think you might be onto something. The deal is, though, why would it run fine on one 10-round magazine and then jam on another 10-round magazine? I don't know. Let's try back and switch back to the Wilson Combat. It runs fine in the PMag a minute ago. Second time it did not run fine in the PMag. What could that be? Handgun related? I don't think so, because if it's handgun related, I think it would be consistent and do it every time. Let's try it again. Let's see how many we got in here. I have no idea how many's in there. Alright, let me put my hearing protection back on. So let me just put the weapon on safe. Let me see what we've got going on here. Sam, you might be on to something, but I'm not quite there yet. The weapon's chambering fine. It's just like it's not going full in the battery. That tells me it's probably something else. I'm not buying a magazine still, man. I mean, that was just how many rounds right there. I think something like this, junk, overloading it, is a problem. You know, you can't get much cheaper. And I don't mean cheap as in a bad way. You know, PMags are probably the most affordable pieces of stuff out there, and you just seen it run 10 just fine. Wilson Combat, top of line, we just, you know, we had a couple problems with it and a couple not. I could open up another Wilson and try it, but I don't have any more ammo. This old generic magazine is the one we seem to have the most problem with. We had no problem, like you say, out of the original Dan Wesson magazine. But then again, you know, we run fine out of the PMag. The weapon chambered fine. I do agree with you. Something happened there that it didn't want to fire, but the magazine was chambered. I think the slide wasn't going all the way forward or something. You know, the trigger would not release. So is there something there? I don't know. Good argument, good question. I'll tell you what we can do though. We can keep trying to see. Did not. Now let's look. Let's take a look. Let's look right here. Let Sam join in here and you make a comment. If you'll look, I was able to put the weapon on safe. You know, I'm about to decide we have a firearm problem and not a magazine problem. That right there, the weapon's on safe, which tells me, number one, the slides went forward enough to put the handgun in battery. It should be firing. But the trigger Did not pull. Let's see what happens now. Now it did go. So what we're talking about, now it will not go. We'll put the weapon back into safe, take it back out of safe. Will not fire. Put the handgun in safe, take it back out of safe. We got a handgun problem like you suggest. It is not a magazine problem. So I begin to think, I don't care what kind of magazines we got in here, we've got a problem. Now it could be something I'm not aware of. We'll try one of these Wilson ones just for shits and giggles. There could be something in here, but that just doesn't make sense to me. We're going to try one, but if I can put the weapon in safe, that means the gun is in battery, the slide's all the way full, but yet the trigger locks up. Why? All right, nothing. Put it on safe. We're going to take it off of safe. It'll fire. I bet you you're right. There's not a magazine problem, so I don't think it's going to matter. Well, hey, let's just try it again. Let's go back and put several rounds in this small magazine and see. Now, my question to you, Sam, is have you tried this and the magazine go on and off of safety like that? Have you done that? Or have you just, like I did initially, put the weapon down? You know, recognizing that we do have an issue with the handgun now. All right, let's see what happens with that magazine. Will not fire. I'm gonna put it on safe. I'm gonna take it off safe. We got a bad handgun, what we got. What could that be? It's gonna take a little bit of experimentation. Not the magazine, something to do with this handgun. You'll see that was the original 7-round magazine. Let's try it one more time. This is a little bit unique issue. Fire, safe, no fire. Put the weapon on safe. Now the weapon will not even go on safe. We got a malfunctioning weapon. If you've got the same one, safe, fire. We got something wrong with a handgun. This is not a magazine issue. The safety obviously got an issue. I'm going to think this needs to be further investigated. Okay, gang, you know, when we first started this a little while ago, there was no problem. And then as we progressed, we started experiencing a problem. The more we fired, the worse it got. You know, initially when I first done the video on this gun back several months ago, go check it out, never had a problem. I didn't expect there to be a problem. Sure enough, subscriber says there's a problem. I come out and the more I shoot, I experience a problem. The problem worsens and worsens and worsens regardless of which magazine was having. So what is that telling me? If I put it on safe to off safe, it starts working. In my mind, I'm thinking dirt. Maybe the thing just needs to be cleaned. I've been shooting on nasty Tula ammo, and I've been doing that. One other thing I haven't thought about, you know, if you go back and watch some of my other videos, I do always recommend putting one less round in a magazine specifically for a feeding issue. So sometimes a 10-round magazine, you put 10 in there, it may give you a little trouble. Take some tension off the spring, it's going to run a little better. And I do that in a lot of videos you go see. So what I've done so far is I took the weapon down and cleaned it. When I say took it down, I took the firing pin out and cleaned it. I took the sear out. I took the disconnector out. And I'm going to be honest with you, they were pretty cruddy and sticky. Is that going to be the problem? I don't know. I'm hoping so. So I've got 2 Wilson Combat 10-round magazines here. And I have put 9 rounds in each one of them. And we're going to try it and hope that this does the trick. Put these on. Oh, one more thing before I do fire. In this trigger right here, I did back this tension screw off just a little bit right in there. I hope you can see it. I backed it off a couple turns just to make sure that we're letting that trigger reset good and everything. So we can go ahead and let's see what happens. You know, and let's make sure that we let's don't confuse a failure to feed or something with the actual handgun locking up. All right, let's go. Let's try what we got. A lot Lock back, just like it's supposed to. Try this other magazine. Another 10 round magazine with 9 rounds. Tula ammo, nasty crap. Lock back just so you can see. So I think we've solved the problem. I think the problem really is the handgun was dirty. User problem, not a handgun problem. Like I said, I completely disassembled the handgun, removed the firing pin, removed the disconnector and sear and the hammer. And I think that's where the problem laid, with the disconnector and the sear. And I think that's what we were getting our problem. It was just nasty, it was sticky, it was gunky. I cleaned it with some mineral spirits, did not oil it, put it back in, come outside, and we just run the gun empty just like it was supposed to run. I hope that was helpful. If you got any questions that I can help you with something, man, I love tinkering with these things. They're what I do. Sergeant 1911. Until we shoot again, shoot safe, shoot straight. Hooah.